Welcome to this video. My name is Anne-Marie and I'll be showing you guys my everyday go-to makeup look. Funny story though before we jump in, I actually filmed the tutorial part yesterday, only then when I look back at the footage I remember that I forgot to film an introduction. So this is the day after and I sort of copied the makeup that I did yesterday, but it's not the exact same, so if you're wondering how or why, and because I'm very uncomfortable talking to a camera, we're gonna stop the talking part and just jump right into the tutorial part. So, that. Alright, so the first thing that I do when I do my makeup is I want to start with a blank slate, so I start off by washing my face and then apply my skincare. I firmly believe that if you take care of what's underneath the makeup will also apply better, and in general, your skin will thank you later on. So once I'm done with that, I start off with my eyebrows. Now, as you may have noticed, my eyebrows are virtually non-existent, which is due to two reasons. One, I'm a natural redhead, which means they are very fair to begin with, and secondly, because I shave half of them off. So the first thing that I do is I take a brow gel and I brush it through my eyebrows, as so. Then I take an angular brush and some brow powder, and I gently brush that through the same area where I just applied the brow gel. Once I've thickened up the entire area, I like to take a brow pencil, or in this case a brow wiz, and I'll start drawing in the tail end of my brow. Now the shape that I draw this part in, it depends on how I'm feeling. Recently I've been liking this shape to go a little bit up, and a little bit of a brow lift idea. Sometimes I'll just follow my natural brow line if it's not shaved. It really depends on what I'm feeling like. So once I'm done with that, I like to take a flat brush with some foundation on it, and I start cleaning up the bottom side of my eyebrow. Now I do this to get my eyebrows at the same height. So once I've cleaned them up, I look up how they align, and then I draw a line of foundation in between them. With that, I connect them and make sure that they start at the same height. Then taking a very thin angular brush and some brow pomade, I start drawing in the rest of my eyebrow. Once my eyebrows are somewhat reminiscent of what I want them to look like, I like to go in with the same flat brush as I used before, only this time I will use the eye primer that I will use to prime my eyelids with later on. Now, I like to use an eye primer that's very similar to a concealer. Sometimes I even use a concealer, and yeah. So once I've cut out the bottom part of my brow, I also like to clean up the top part of my brow. So for this, I use a foundation and the same flat angular brush, and I just try to carve out the top shape that I want. If this doesn't work right now, I'll just go back in with some pomade and then carve it out again, and just continue a process until I'm happy with how they look. Once I'm happy with the bottom side of my brows, I like to take the eye primer that I'll be using, and I'll just coat my entire eyelid with it, and then I blend it out. Now once I'm done with that, it's time to disconnect our unibrow. So for that, I use some concealer, which I then blend out. Now that we're done with the eyebrows, it's time to start with the actual eyelids. So typically on a daily basis, I will use two eyeshadows. I will use a taupe one and a slightly darker taupe one. The eyeshadow that I'm using here is a bit brownish taupe, although on camera it likes to show up a little bit orangey, which it's not really in real life. But anyways, bear with me on this one. So I will take this color and I'll blend it out over the entire lid and make sure to make it not seamless, just smooth it out. Then I'll take a different brush, a blending brush which is clean, and I'll blend that color out further. Now, the color that I'm going in with here is green. Typically I will go in with something like a darker brown or something taupish, but currently I'm feeling this green vibe look, so that's what I'm going with recently. Now to blend the green and the other color together, I like to go back in with different brushes, add some more green, blend it out with the previous brush, possibly use the blending brush I've used before, until I'm happy with the look that I've created. So every now and then I'm feeling like a little bit of shimmer, and for recently I've been loving this highlighter from Fenty, and I'll just place it at the center of my lid and blend it out for a little bit of highlight on the lid, so to say. So it is time for eyeliner. Now, to start off by explaining how I do my eyeliner, I need to tell you what kind of eyes I have. So, I don't necessarily have hooded eyes, but I do have, I think, deep set eyes. Anyways, if I draw my eyeliner in normal, I will have this, it will look wonky if I look straight ahead. So what I do is I start off by drawing a very thin line above my eyes and just lining them like so. Then what I like to do is I drag out a straight line from the center of my eye out to how far I want my wing to be. I'll do this while looking straight in a mirror, which you may not see right now because the mirror is placed down below, but I sort of like to just have a straight line going out. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I start at the bottom corner of my eye and I draw it up to the line that I just drew. Something like this. And then I connect the two top lines and I fill in that entire area. Right now it's a little bit messy, but I'll clean it up later on. Then the next thing that I do is I like to take some concealer on that same flat brush and I sharpen up the edge. So this is the basics of how I do my eyeliner, but typically I'm not done there and I start trying to perfect my liner. Sometimes it makes it worse, but most of the time it makes it better. And of course, if I'm making a mistake, I then will clean it up using some concealer like I'm doing here. Then to make this whole bat-like wing that we just drew a little bit smoother, I like to go over it with some black eyeshadow and sort of smooth out any bumps in the liner that we just draw and make it all blend in a little bit more, so to say. So a little bit more about mistakes. Here I felt like I made another mistake and I made the black go down too much. So I'll take some concealer and block it out to the best of my abilities. Then I gently blend out the mistake and I wait for that foundation to sort of set, and then afterwards I'll go over it with the color that I've used in the eye. And then I'll blend out that eyeliner or concealer and draw in how I want it to be, to make it, you know, as perfect as I can make it. Once I'm happy with that, I take a black kohl pencil, which I will move along the waterline of my eyes in order to connect my eyeliner with the mascara. Then of course we have that same old thing of using a lash curler and some mascara. So for now we're done with the eyes. I say for now because we'll get back to them. So the next thing that I do is I take some makeup remover on a cotton swab and I move it around my face to make sure that I catch any fallout that we made just now. Then the next thing I'll do is apply primer now. I typically use two primers on my face. The first one is the NYX Angel Glue Primer. I like to use that one in my T-zone and mostly on my nose, because I have one of those noses where foundation just doesn't seem to stick on. So that's why I use this primer, and so far it's worked. The second primer that I use is the very much raved about Milk Hydrogrip primer. I use this on basically any other part of my face. So far I really like this primer, so that's why I use it. So moving on to foundation. So my foundation routine changes very quickly. Sometimes I feel like full coverage and sometimes I don't. Recently my skin has been very well behaved, so I like to use very minimal base makeup. So I take this stick by Nudestix and I pat it into any redness that I have on my face to make it a bit more even, so to say, and I blend it in. Next, I like to take a little bit of foundation or concealer, depending on how bad the spots are, and I take the back end of a face brush, which I gently dip into the foundation and then place on the spots that I need covered, which then in turn I'll blend in again using a beauty blender. Once I'm sort of happy with the way my foundation looks, I grab some under eye concealer and I start concealing underneath my eyes. So another thing that I use my under eye concealer for is to sharpen up the wing of my eyeliner. So let me again zoom you guys in for that one. So what I'll do is I'll place the concealer like so, and then I grab that same handy dandy flat brush and I'll use it to clean up my wings one more time. Now do note that I do sort of clean this brush in between so the products don't get messed up. Then of course I make sure to blend it all out and make the entire face as seamless as possible. And once everything's blended in, I take a big fluffy brush and I set my entire face with powder. Now I like to place a little bit more powder underneath my eyes. I do this to catch fallouts. It's not to bake, but it's to make sure that when I do the under part of my eyes, nothing falls on my face. So we go back into the eyes. So for the under part of my eye, and I'm sorry for the blurriness of this footage, but I like to take an angular brush and the darker color that I used before to sort of line the underneath of my eyes. Here I'm trying to get everything back into focus. It's sort of working, sort of not working. Anyways, and we're back. So, like I'm doing here, I'm sort of lining the under part of my eyes. Then I like to take a small fluffy brush and use the same color I used up top to blend it out. I lost a bit of footage here, so bear with me. Next, some days I like to have a little inner corner flick too. I carefully draw that in using a little bit more eyeliner. It's just very tedious and it goes very slow when it goes. And lastly, it's important not to forget about the bottom lashes as well, so I coat those in mascara too. Now that we're done with that, it's time to remove the powder from the under eyes and move on to the rest of the face makeup. So, I do really like to do a little bit of contour to pretend I have bone structure and actual cheekbones. So, taking some on a brush, don't know what kind of brush, I'll contour my cheeks and my jaw. Don't have any particular method, I just contoured. To bring back some life to my face, I'll apply blush, places most people would apply blush, and the nose, because I've been watching too many TikToks and the e-girls made me do it. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts, which is highlight, which I basically douse my face in. I put it on my nose, my cheeks, my lip, just basically everywhere. And if I'm feeling particularly shiny that day, or I want to be particularly shiny that day, I take a second highlighter, which is more blending than the last. Also note that the highlight doesn't always show up as well on camera, because I am very fair skinned and sometimes it likes to pretend it isn't there. Moving on to the lips, let me zoom you in for how I exactly draw in my lip shape. So this is my natural lip shape, but I like to do a little bit of overlining and change up the shape into the shape I like them to be. It's not that I'm not happy with the way they normally look. When I wear lipstick, I like them to look like this. Once I line them, I basically cover my entire lips with lipstick. Typically, I like to wear lipstick that is long-lasting. The one that I'm applying here is by Fenty. I think it's in the color Unbotton. I'll put it down below anyways. And so far, this lipstick will last me through anything. I've applied this in the morning, had lunch, had dinner, and it still looked fine. So for now, this is basically my go-to if I don't know what my day will look like. However, I must say in quarantine it doesn't really matter what lipstick you wear. You always have time to reapply it. And of course, we cannot forget the setting spray to make this look last as long as we want it to. Once I'm done with that, it's time for my hair to change out of my pajamas. And that concludes the entire look. So that was the tutorial. I hope you liked it and possibly even learned something from it. If you did and if you liked it, then please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos in the future, more makeup tutorials, possibly makeup reviews, then you can subscribe to this channel. There's not much right there at the moment, but I'm planning on making more videos in the future. And also, if you have any questions or comments, then you can comment down below. And lastly, if you want to see more of my work, then you can also follow me on Instagram. That is at little_red_Ann. I'll put a link down below. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!